Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our virtual back to school night. I have created a presentation, which I will send you separately as well, in addition to the link, this video link, so that way you can go back in and look at things if you need to. I'm going to present it now. And there we go. Okay, so once again, welcome. Thank you for joining me. If we have not already met in person, my name is Miss Cosmo. I am your child's teacher. And then I also included pictures of the other people that your child interacts with daily. So Mrs. Gardner is our educational assistant. Mr. Cope, who is the music teacher, will be with us until December, and then we will find out what happens after that. Mrs. Spalding comes in to help about 2 hours a day. And then Mrs. Dillon comes in to help us with lunch. So I'm a huge proponent on communication. Please do not ever hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or concerns, be it you think they're big, you think they're small. No question is silly, and I am here for you to answer any questions that you might have. I tend to use or prefer class tag. We are a very email heavy district, and I never want your messages to get lost in the many emails that we get from the school district and other things like that. So if possible, please message me on class tag. But of course, if email is easier for you, please feel free to do that. And I will make it a point to kind of star everybody's email addresses so that way they do come up first. I also included the school phone number. And I know I've said it before, I just want to reiterate, I do try to answer your messages as soon as I possibly can. Most of you have already completed the forms on the Genesis Parent Portal. If you have not completed all of the forms, please go back in there and fill them out. I know there were a couple questions about dismissal. So for instance, if your child is generally a walker, which could mean they get picked up by the car or by somebody physically coming to the door to get them, and somebody else is going to be getting them for the day, or perhaps they're usually a busser, but they'll be a walker that day. There is a form that I've linked there that you can fill out. When in doubt, I say call the main office. I don't always check class tag throughout the day. So in case you send me an urgent message, I might not have received it by the time of dismissal or prior to dismissal. So please always call the main office. And if it's something that I need to know as well, the office will call down and let me know that dismissal plans have changed. I did write in there, because the kids are only coming to school for 2 days, a week, if possible, please try to schedule any and all appointments on days where they are virtual, so that way they don't miss any in-person school learning time. And as usual, just keep trying your best, as I do, to read messages, emails from myself from the school. I know it's a lot of information this year, so we're all working on that together. I wanted to give you a little tour of our classroom. We have on the door, Mrs. Gardner is very good about themed doors. And so what we do at the beginning of the year is I take everybody's picture, and it's only for classroom use. And so this month, Mrs. Gardner put everybody's picture of their face on scarecrow bodies. We do send these home as soon as the door theme changes over. So I know the picture is blurry there, but you'll be able to see it when they go home. And then I also included a view of the classroom from the front, looking back to the door. And then I included some of our math centers. So all of those rainbow cards have different math activities in them. I wanted to show you how our desks are set up. So each student has a seat sack. Currently, what's in there right now is what I call early finisher activities. Everything is individually bagged. So we have a bag of Legos, a bag of math manipulatives, which are the snap cubes and the counters. We have some magnetic alphabet letters in a bag, and then we also have a can of Play-Doh, and then we have a book in there. And so if you can see from that picture, every desk has a pencil box as well, and then the yellow box, the picture on the top right, Every desk has one of those as well, which is where we store our larger supplies. And then the last picture is the other side of the room. I know they look like the same rainbow cards. They are actually different rainbow cards, and those contain all of our word work centers, like our ABC work and things like that. And also, if you notice on the desk, I saw this online and it's been working out wonderfully. I actually used a zip tie and I attached heavy duty plastic cups to each desk. So that way a part of when the kids come in the morning is putting their water bottle into that cup. Here we have our cubbies. So your student is responsible for, at the end of their cohort day, be it Thursday or Friday, to put their things away and get ready for the next set of learners. So if you look in the cubby, those are examples on the bottom of the big boxes that I showed you. And then here's their seat sack is up at the top, and that's usually where they put their pencil basket as well. I just wanted to give you a couple more images of our classroom. We have our word wall, our classroom sink, and then a picture of the classroom from the back. Our classroom rules are pretty standard: to have safe bodies, listening ears, eyes, and hearts when somebody else is talking, to take care of our things, to take pride in our things, and to be kind to everyone. And then here is a picture. It looks a little distorted because I smushed it in. We have a really cool smartboard in our classroom that is touchscreen, as well as you can use a special pen on it. And the kids know that they need a hand sanitizer before they're allowed to touch it, and I monitor that as well. Okay, so here is our schedule. Every day from 9 to 9:30 is essentially our arrival, unpacking, hand washing, breakfast, hand washing. There is a lot of hand washing in our day. And then depending on the arrival of all of the buses, sometimes kids arrive at 9:25 and they need to eat breakfast. So sometimes we'll extend morning meeting or breakfast time a little bit, or we'll start it and then we go into morning meeting. So then from 10 to 10:30 is our foundations, our phonics program. And then we go into math. And while I leave and go meet with the virtual students online from 11:10 to 11:30, Mr. Cope and Mrs. Gardner are in the room, and they usually do like a movement break before lunch, to which there's more hand washing, then lunch. And then our recess is from 11:50 to 12:15. And then when we get back, we have 15 minutes, more hand washing, drinks, and bathroom. Then we go into more language arts, which is usually a read aloud and some sort of activity. This week, it's been mostly color theme based, as it's the second week of colors. And it will go into eventually small group work. Then we clean that up, go into a whole group math lesson. And then once again, a movement break, start hand washing, snacks, that type of thing, while I am out of the room from 2 o'clock to 2:20. And Mr. Cope and Mrs. Gardner are both in here during that time. Mrs. Spalding also joins us on those days during that time. And then our day ends with some social emotional exploration and some centers. I wanted to show you an example of our morning and goodbye procedures. So as I mentioned before, that your child is responsible for putting their things in their cubby, be it their last day, Tuesday or Friday. I have created these signs to help guide them. So every morning when they come in, they put their folder in the folder bin. They put their snack, they leave their snack in their backpack. We do that a lot of times so that way the snack is not confused with lunch and they accidentally eat it during lunch and then are hungry afterward. Then they put their book bag and lunchbox into their cubby. And then on the big unpack days is what we call it. So Mondays and Thursdays, they would get their big bin, their pencil case, and their water bottle and bring it to their seat. And then after all that's done, they wash their hands. Some friends eat breakfast, some do not. And regardless, they all have morning work. And then here's another example of what we call the big pack up day, which is folder goes into their book bag, their snack, lunchbox, and water bottle go into their book bag to their desk. And then we have we call them necklace lanyards, but they hook onto their masks. It's an option for the kids to wear it. It sometimes is helpful during recess when they take their mask down or when they're eating. It just holds up their lanyard. So if they wore that for the day, they put it back in their big Ziploc bag, put the bag in their big box, and then they take everything to their cubby. And this is a heavily supervised process, especially in the beginning. But I must say, today is technically, I believe, day 7, and the kids are really good at it. So I just wanted to briefly take you in through some of our curriculum. Our phonics program is called Foundations, and we work on letter sounds and word work. This includes phonemic awareness, which is blending. So if we were to tap out a word, it would go m, a, p, ma. If you have specific questions about any of these things, please feel free to reach out to me. I just don't want to make this video too long and too overwhelming by just bamboozling you with information. So the program also focuses on rhyming, on diagraphs, storytelling, comprehension. It is very, very heavy on handwriting. So you will have gotten, either last week or the week before, I sent home the parent information for how to specifically form letters, and that is the way that the program teaches it, and that is the way the program assesses it. So in the next slide, you will see the lines. I made it a little bit bigger so you can see it. But if you are ever working on handwriting at home, my advice would be to take those out. There was one for lowercase and one for uppercase, and it's the verbalizations of how to write the letter. So for instance, when we learn T, we all kind of chant it together. I say it, then they echo it. T is a skyline letter. Start at the skyline, go down to the grass, yada, 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 that type of thing. But it is not the same way that perhaps you, and definitely not I, learn to write letters. So I would just be mindful and aware of those packets. And of course, if you need another copy, please let me know. I will also be sending home a list of the sight words, so that way you can kind of keep track of when we do them. I generally keep to that order, but if I notice that in writing, a lot of children are writing the same word over and over and over again, but we haven't officially introduced it, I will introduce it. So as I mentioned before, these are the lines that go with the program: the skyline, plain line, grass line, and worm line. And all of the letter verbalizations of how to make them include that language. So there are also parent packets. You received one last week for orientation. I'm going to see if I can hold it up. You will be receiving this one this week if you have not already. And these are some parent tips and tricks and extra things that you can do at home to help your child practice. I'm going to see if I can throw that closer. This is I included one entire document of all of these letters. There was one for uppercase and one for lowercase. I just wanted to show you a picture in case you were wondering what that was. So those will be sent home every week to go with that week's lesson. And then there will also be a poem that will be sent home that you can work on with your child. There's some things and suggestions on the back that you can do. The last thing I wanted to discuss is, I haven't sent it home yet. I wanted to explain it. Everybody will be getting, we're calling it a home packet. I didn't want to send it home yet because we won't be using it too much unless we go virtual or I assign the videos. Excuse my face there. I've heard the video, I've watched a couple of them, and the woman who does it mostly has a very thick accent. So I might assign work, but it might not be videos. So these are tiles that you can cut out. And then here is a thicker level laminated sheet. This is exactly like our whiteboard in class. So when we initially learn the letter, we do it on this large side. And then eventually we will be working on the smaller line side. There is also a home notebook included. However, these are teeny, teeny, tiny lines, and I do not, by any means, especially at this point in the year, expect your child to be able to form letters correctly on lines this small. They are just very small. So you can just keep that for later, or please, if you want, have your child practice. I will not be assigning them anything using this at this point in time. It's just too small. Like I said, we use this one. So if you do start to use this, I would say just please be careful, because the school has only ordered one for everyone, one per child. So if you accidentally misplace a tile, you could feel free to make one out of construction paper, but they will not be able to be replaced. So I will send home everybody's packet when I send home their poems, which will either be this week or next week. Okay, moving on. We do have, we call it Writer's Workshop. It's usually a daily read aloud and a mini lesson to go with it. As I mentioned, we've been focusing primarily on colors recently. So they've been color-themed books, and then our activity has been the colors. As we get more into introducing words, we will begin to practice and have small reading groups focusing on reading books with those words. And then here are some of the key ideas that we will be focusing on: retelling, predictions, beginning, middle, and end. And as I mentioned, as the year progresses, we will get into small reading groups, which are 2 to 3 kids per group, and we will focus on those targeted skills. Our math program has 16 topics. We are almost through topic 1, which are numbers 1 to 5. And you will see I will either send home a math mat or those reteaching and practice sheets that I've been doing for virtual days. Sometimes you will receive a math mat that is not complete, and that's because we did an alternate activity. We still learn that skill, but we did it without using the math mat that day. Okay, here are just some suggestions. Please make sure your child gets enough rest each night. And I know it's so hard, but if you could have them maintain some sort of consistent schedule. Usually they say that if your child goes to sleep maybe at 7 o'clock, it's anything within that next hour. So if they usually go to bed at 7, but they're staying up a little late because tomorrow's going to be their virtual day, then it should be no later than 1 hour later. So like 8 o'clock in that example. Please check your child's B folder every day. I know a lot of you have been sending in work. We've been looking it over, starring it, and sending it back. It gets very, very bulky if you leave that work in there. So we will send anything home. I know I've asked for the projects back so we could hang them up on the wall, but anything else that is then put on the the left side, ooh, I had to think about that. Anything on the left side, you can keep it home. It's already been looked at, or we've done it in class. It's the things on the right side that you can also, if they were sent home initially and you're just waiting for virtual days, then you can take them out as well. As you saw with the water bottles on the desks, there is a special spot for them. So please send in a water bottle. They have quite literally taped all the water fountains. So when your child is thirsty, I have no water to give them if they do not have a water bottle. And then please send in a snack every day. They are very hungry. They ask me when snack is as soon as they get back from recess, which is 20 minutes after lunch. They are getting better. That is a very beginning of the year thing. They are hungry all the time, and then they get used to the school schedule. But with being home for 5 days, that's why I asked if possible, we maintain some sort of similar schedule. And then you can it's never too early to have your child start practicing tying their shoes or zipping up their own jackets. And I know some of you have been wearing sandals, which is okay per school dress code and policy. We do have it's like crushed up tire tracks on the playground outside. So I know sometimes if you're wearing sandals, it can be uncomfortable and a bit of a safety hazard if you're running in the tire tracks. And our recess rotation is quite intense. Miss Gardner has nailed it down. She is with them all lunch, but it's almost every day we're going to a different thing, be it the soccer field, blacktop, the playground. So if you have them wear sneakers, then that would automatically be taken care of and they wouldn't have to worry about that. And then just another reminder to please make sure that your child's mask fits their face and is able to stay over their nose. And then proper hand washing. I mean, they're really getting good at it. We have a little timer by our sink that's 30 seconds, and they love washing their hands for 30 seconds because they'll wash, wash, wash as they watch the timer. Virtual learning. So whether your child is in the blue cohort or gold cohort, everything will always be posted to the Google Classroom. Lessons will be posted every day that we have school scheduled. Work, as I mentioned before, work that is sent home on the right side, the one with the heart, that's all stuff that will be completed on virtual days. Please don't forget to write your name. We've been getting back some things and there haven't been names. And so the main focus of the virtual days is not to introduce new material or teach new material. It's to review and practice what we've learned in class. The hybrid check-ins. I know I changed the time on you from 1:45 to 2. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me. It worked out better for the in-school kids for that time. So we will always have them as of now, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, from 11:10 to 11:30. And then again, from 2 to 2:20. And this is mostly FaceTime with me and their friends, and we can discuss things and share things. And if they have any questions, then they can ask me. Everybody has been really good about muting and unmuting. I have the signs, I have some here, and then some in the music room where I do the virtual check-ins. I use these on Wednesdays and the other ones in the other room on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Everyone's been very good about waiting their turn to unmute. And I have since discovered that if I say, let's have a race and see who can hang up the quickest, ooh, everybody hangs up so quickly. Virtual Wednesdays, they will still be our big Google Meet. So it's when the blue cohort and the gold cohort come together and we have a big morning meeting. It's really nice for the kids to see their classmates in the opposite cohort, and they'll usually be theme-based, science and social studies. For instance, last week was Yellow Day. And Wednesdays are also a time to do your specials classes. So your art, music, gym, etc. Birthdays and more. So unfortunately this year, birthdays will not be celebrated in the same fashion that they were in previous years. Because the school does not want parents to come in and out, we don't want a lot of traffic flow that way. We are asking that you please do not send in any birthday treats, but that doesn't mean we're not celebrating. We will celebrate, your child will get a crown and everybody sings to them. And then we have an opportunity for their friends to ask them questions about their birthday. I am going to share out, in the past, I used to call it a birthday play day list. I know things aren't the same with that, but I do want to share out, I think I'm going to make it a virtual form, and it'll just be whatever information you are comfortable sharing with other parents, whether that's just your child's first name, perhaps you want to include your email address or your phone number. Please fill out any part of it that you are comfortable with, and then I will share it out with everybody. You can send in $5 to $10 of a donation. So though we are not having, big birthday parties or big, for instance, Halloween is the next party we're having, we will not be having room parents this year. So if you donate the $5 to $10, then that would mean Mrs. Gardner and I, we go out, we buy, the specific party craft, the specific party treats and things like that. This is not mandatory by any means. It is just if you would like to donate. I have created our it's our second monthly calendar. It's an October calendar. I'm going to also share that out with you virtually. And then if you would like to print it, or if you don't have access to a printer and would like it printed, please let me know and I can always send it home. I have an example, but I'm not sure how to switch screens when I'm already in a screen. So I'll send it to you. Last, some parents were able to answer that Google form. I apologize again, the first time permissions were wrong, but I did just want to answer a couple of the questions that I did receive. So as of either last year or the year before, I can't quite remember because this year feels like a year already, we are not doing official homework. So the only things that you will get in that right side of the folder is the virtual work, the things that your child can do when they are not at in-person school. But other than that, there will be no homework. If you are having a different person pick up your student, the school has asked, it might be easier rather than I know you only got 2 of these to begin with. So you can take a picture of this and send it to the person who's picking up your child. If there is a situation where it's like an early dismissal or something like that, my best recommendation on the Genesis parent portal, you can put emergency contacts. If you add a person who could potentially be picking your child up, maybe it's like 3 times a week, or you know that sometimes their aunt might be doing it, please add them to the Genesis parent portal under the emergency contact section, so that way there will never be an issue with it. I also got a question regarding breakfast and lunch, kids who buy that. And you can always pack your child a breakfast and or lunch, even if they're marked as an everyday buyer. And then I did get an amazing question about school tours. I know a lot of you were supposed to get a tour last year. And unfortunately, at this time, because our policy is to try to limit parents coming into the building at all, we do not have something planned for school tours. I will keep you posted as soon as I hear anything about that. Well, thank you for tuning in. So what's going to happen is tomorrow night from 6:30 to 7:30, I will be available on Google Meets to answer any additional questions that you have, or I will try my best to. I'm also going to try to write them down, so that way if you are not able to join, I can send out all the questions, and hopefully that would answer any questions that you might have had but were not able to join. Excuse me. Also, because I am there from 6:30 to 7:30, that doesn't mean you have to be there from 6:30 to 7:30. That just means I'm available for that whole hour. So if you can pop in for 5 minutes and you have a question, please feel free to do so. All right. I look forward to seeing all y'all tomorrow. Thank you again for watching, and have a great night.